Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Krystalán Chryssomallis on the line, and she's CMO over at Yanni Entertainment. Krystal, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Adam, for having me.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at Yanni Entertainment and some of the projects that you have coming up. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career?
How did I get started? Well, after university, which actually was a very incredible experience for me because it gave me the opportunity to study abroad in both Spain and Mexico, where I ended up working at the U.S. Embassy. That experience really opened my eyes to the world and kind of began my curiosity of like people, places, and culture. So that kind of has stayed with me through life. From there, I ended up working at a pharmaceutical company, planning events and orchestrating events for doctors and the sales force. And from there, I decided take the leap and get into something that I'm super passionate about, which is the music industry. And essentially, that's where I am today. Been working in the music industry now for 15 years, touring about 8 months a year. So it's a full-on production, and that's where I continue to do events and put on concert events essentially. So that's how I got into where I am today.
What an amazing story, and what an amazing pivot. So we talk about, I have guests on the show all the time, and, somebody, they find this passion, or they do this thing, and they're like, I had something calling me, I had to do it. So you went through one of those time periods in your life where you had a pivot. So you went from working with, doctors to Yanni. I mean, big transition there in touring the world. That'd be the title of your book, From Doctors to Yanni. They'd be like, what is that about? So that being said, there's some people listening right now that are maybe in the middle of one of those pivots, or they're thinking about a pivot and they have something calling them that they want to do. You obviously made the jump. What kind of advice would you give to that person that's out there thinking right now, wow, Krystal did it, I can do it too?
Well, that's a really good question. I think a big piece of it, even with where I am today, and I'm almost taking another bit of a pivot currently. And the biggest thing that I kept reflecting on was why. What's my purpose? We're only on this planet for so long, and we give so much of our time to our work that we do. I wanted to enjoy and have a meaning behind what I do every single day. What gets you out of bed? And for me, having a deeper sense or a bigger purpose larger than myself was what I needed to say, it's okay to take that leap, to take that jump, because that passion is really what carries you through, and you'll figure out a way to make things happen. So it's like having no fear and not being afraid to follow that passion or that desire inside of you, because where there's a will, I believe there's always a way. Where one door closes, another one opens. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it myself, and like I said, we're only on this planet for so long, so make it count.
I love it. That's great advice. Let's switch it up a bit. Let's get into Yanni Entertainment. So let's talk more about what you do, anything interesting you have coming up. Let's go there.
With Yanni Entertainment, well, there's always something fun. The cool thing about the music industry is no 2 days are the same. I love that. I love that it's a bit of an organized chaos. We're planning a few tours coming up, so every year we plan out for the year ahead on what tours are coming up and what we're going to be doing. And with Yanni, we get to tour in some pretty spectacular locations that aren't traditionally tour locations or aren't necessarily like the easiest places to get to. So, for example, in February, we're heading to Saudi Arabia. So right now, a lot of our attention is getting that production up and running and what that will look like and get that prepared. And then after that, we head to Latin America and do a bunch of the countries in Latin America. And that will bring its own challenges and excitement at the same time.
Wow, I think that might be an understatement. As I look at some of the photos and some of the other things, the concert experience at the Great Pyramids. I mean, some of the things you do and work on. What an interesting career.
So Pyramids is probably one of my favorite events I've ever worked on. Probably the most proud of that one because it was such a huge undertaking. Essentially, we set up a concert program or concert event in front of the pyramids. The Sphinx was our backdrop. We lit the pyramids like it's never been lit before, and brought in all the equipment because there's not obviously a concert stage in front of the pyramids. So it's like, how do you get all the equipment there? How do you get it into the country, one? And how do you actually build a stage and create this experience where it doesn't exist? So how do you make something out of nothing with a culture that like Egypt? That was my first experience ever working in Egypt, so that brought in a whole other level of things. But we ended up, having the support of the Egyptian government. They commissioned fireworks to be let off in coordination to the music on the stage. So there was actually the military firing fireworks out of their cannons behind the fireworks as the concert event was occurring.
Oh my gosh!
Huge. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in an event like that, and that was a pretty awesome one to be a part of. To be part of.
Wow, I cannot even imagine. I mean, obviously I see the pictures, but I'm like, do you get to enjoy being in those moments, or is there just too much going on to where your head's going a mile a minute and you just can't? You're hoping, like, I hope one of these things doesn't misfire. That's what I would be thinking.
I mean, that's definitely, we're all like, you don't really know, right? But that's a good question. A few of us actually do a reality check with each other because sometimes you're in it, like so in it. And
yeah, I get it.
And you're running around, and it's like, just take a second, breathe in, and like realize what you're doing, realize what you're a part of. And actually, I got into photography because of these tours that I've been on. Mm-hmm. And because of my camera, it almost forced me to take in those moments and really realize and recognize what was going on around you. Because you can easily let those moments pass by because you're caught up in the hustle of everything. But to really see things through my lens and take a moment to just breathe it all in is really a gift. The camera has really been a benefit to me in so many different ways, and that was probably the biggest one, to one, recognize what's going on, and two, be able to share that with everyone else.
Man, that's awesome. So for the people listening, if they want more information on Yanni, what's going on, Yanni Entertainment, or your photography, as you mentioned, what's the best way for people to connect?
Well, with Yanni, if they go to yanni.com, that will have everything, YANNI. He's also obviously on all the social media. And same with myself. I'm also on social media. And I have my own website called Krystalán.com. It's KRYSTALAN.com. And with the photography, that you'll see a bunch of that on my website. And I'm actually hosting an event here in Los Angeles at a gallery on February 1st that will kind of feature a lot of the images that I've captured around the world while on tour with Yanni.
Fantastic. Well, Crystal, really appreciate you coming on the show today. And where is you said on February 1st, is that, I'm guessing that you have the event location and all those things are on your website. Is that right?
Yep, it's all on my website.
Perfect.
It's in coordination with UNICEF. So all that information is right on my website.
Awesome. Well, Krystal, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and passion for what you do. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, share this with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I mean, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Krystal, thanks again for coming on the show.